Hey guys, it's Tracy with Synchronicity. I'm so excited to be with you guys today, welcoming the She Tries runners specifically today. So I've put together something that is specifically designed for the runners, for this part of the virtual challenge that you're doing. Here at Synchronicity, we're such a proud sponsor of you guys. We think what you're doing is amazing, and I wanted to put together something specifically targeting what is it that you guys working with muscularly, what's your breath like, what it's like to have that pound on your body, right? So we're gonna get right to it. You don't need a lot for this, which is great. I've rolled out 2 mats. That just gives me a little cushioning. If you have a blanket or, a towel basically at home, this would be a great option as well. And I've grabbed some blocks, although these aren't necessary. If you find that the floor sometimes feels far away from you or you need support, anything that you can grab. These could be books at home. These could be throw pillows at home. This could really be anything. Get creative. So if you feel like you get into a pose and you're thinking, man, that's not comfortable, put me on pause. Seriously, stop what you're doing and go make yourself comfortable. I want you to find yoga to be something that adds value to this incredible thing that you're already doing, okay? We're gonna get started. So I'm gonna take that blanket that I mentioned, I'm just gonna slide it behind me. It's gonna help give my pelvis a little bit of a better positioning. And the reason that we focus on that pelvis is because, and I'm sure you can feel this in running, if our pelvis is in a good position, then our low back has a better position to not hopefully be in a painful position. So that's what I've done there. I'm gonna bring the soles of my feet together. So immediately, if your knees are up here, and trust me, I have a ton of clients that could sit like this in this pose, right? This is when you might find those blocks. Give yourself a little bit of support, right? So I'm bringing those inner thighs in to where I feel comfortable. I'm gonna close my eyes and immediately think about, where am I in my pelvis, right? Am I too far forwards that I'm kind of back bendy? Am I collapsing? But rather, could I find that central line? Close my eyes. Let your arms or hands come honestly just wherever they're comfortable. We're gonna take some nice breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just twice more on your own. Good. Nice. So you're probably already feeling those inner thighs a little bit. So you can slide your hands down to your ankles or wherever is comfortable. We're just gonna actually move the pelvis a little bit. So you could think about almost like a baseball diamond running the bases here. So I'm moving backwards, tailbone, sits bones, pubic bone to the other sits bone. So a little bit of movement will just reverse that direction. You can probably feel the inner thighs here as they stretch out. Just one more in this direction. Perfect, good. We'll release that. You can shake out those legs if you need to. I'm gonna take my legs and I'm gonna point them over to one direction on my mat. Okay, so the thing you need to think about is this knee here, right? So you could bring your legs closer together. You could separate them in any way. You could pad that knee, right? So you could certainly slide something underneath the knee. So here what we're gonna be able to access is both, in this case, my right quadricep, right? And then we'll take a forward fold. So I'm gonna simply go backwards here. Now, backwards is all relative, right? As soon as you feel that stretch of that thigh, that's probably the place you wanna stop. For some of you, man, you can Mac Daddy out here. You're all the way down. Some of you are very flexible. Woo! You might be like, this is great. I don't know if you can get up, but this is certainly part, for some of you, of your practice. So wherever you are, remember, you do you, right? I'm sure She Try talks about this all the time. Finding the pacing, finding your accountability partner, whatever you need. It's you and your thigh right now. That's what you need to focus on. You're gonna take 2 more big breaths here, and you can kind of feel what the weight of that sits bone is in your glute. 1 more big breath. Good. Just walk your hands back in, and if you were down, that might take a while. So we're gonna play a little bit with the flexibility here in this hip flexor. So you're gonna roll yourself forwards, feel that nice little bit of stretch, and then I want you to kind of thunk back a little bit into that heavy seat, right? So picture like a whole bunch of fruit that you've just set into your cloth kind of basket, right? I know that might feel a little funny, but you're just letting the weight of that sits bone. Good. One more just like that. Yeah. Nice. Good. So let's open that up a little bit. So we're going to come forwards, opening our spine. So you've got this kind of range of motion here, or range, I should say, of spaciousness. So you could come over the opposite leg. You could come right down over the middle, or even over that shorter leg. Same thing as before. If you need to rearrange your legs and knees to make them safe, find some place that you can come down to. Your head does not have to reach the floor, right? That's not the goal in yoga, despite what you might see on the cover of magazines and on flashy Instagrams, right? It's all about you feeling the stretch. So you could support your hands with your head here. You might be able to one potato, two potato. You could use your blanket even to just kind of pull it into your belly, which might feel more comfortable. Breathe. So that quadricep now no longer is feeling it, but the back body certainly is. Take in one more breath here. And let that go. Good. Use your hands to just walk yourself up. Move whatever it was in your way. And then just lean back, grab those legs, bring them out in front of you, and just windshield wiper them back and forth. So this is putting some movement in the pelvis, right where those big hip joints live. And we're going to simply take this to the other side. So the other side could present itself with a different knee and honestly some different flexibility or anything that's going on there. So be mindful of that. You're going backwards first. And I invite you that if you're here, instead of just collapsing, right, which is unfortunately how we spend a lot of our day, rather use your active hands and push up, right? So that's going to give you that sense of like, ooh, little back bendy, right? A little bit of opening here, right? Our short pecs, unfortunately. It's like that bra that you really need to throw out, but you just keep in your drawer. You know what I'm talking about, right? So instead, lift up. Go buy yourself a new sports bra, girl. You know you deserve it. Right, one more big breath. That focus here is on the quadricep, right? Not your bra, I promise. One more. Good, let that go. Walk yourself in, and we'll do that same little bit of exploration, right? So you can even use your hands to push into that opening and then just allow it to kind of thunk back. Be careful here. If you've got a really sharp sits bone underneath you, don't crash so hard, but rather put some spaciousness. I'm kind of oiling the joint, if you will. One more just like that. Hopefully this feels good. Yeah, all right. So you have to kind of reorientate your pelvis underneath you in order to even come forwards. You can adjust those legs. You could grab a pillow off your couch, girl, and just shove it in here with your belly. If you're feeling like, man, I can't get anywhere, that's okay. There's nowhere to go. It's the floor. It's not that exciting, right? So just find where feels good for you and rather activate the back body breath. So push into your hands, kind of picture like a cat-like back, and really almost just extend your back ribs so you can make more space in there. Don't be surprised if this left glute or that back leg glute won't touch the ground anymore. Don't be surprised by that. Good, one more big breath. Yeah, walk your hands in, take whatever's in your way out of the way, swing those legs around, and again, just windshield wiper them out. All right, so we're gonna, got a nice little pop there, right? Don't be surprised by those loud noises that your body makes, right? What you need to worry about is if it's accompanied by sharp, burning, or electric sensation. Basically, if it sounds like the end of a drug commercial, right? Any of those side effects, we don't want to do it in yoga. Okay, I'm going to swing my leg out here and I'm going to stand myself up into my spine. All right, from here, you have this relationship with your foot. Now, as a runner, the relationship that you have with your foot is a big deal. It changes your gait, changes your stride, right? So I'm going to just play with kind of a pronation and a supination. So you can see on my foot, I'm rolling to the big toe edge and pushing away into the pinky edge. If you're not sure what your foot is doing, pick up your sneakers, take a look at them. You're probably more inclined to have wear and tread down on either the inside or outside edge. All right, once you settle your foot, try to roll it a little bit so you're not collapsing in the ankle here. I'm gonna slide my hand down, externally rotate or roll that right arm back, and over you go. So you could hold on to your head here, especially if it feels like it's getting away from you. What I'm focusing on is one of the 6 movements the spine makes, and that's a lateral or side flexion here. So I'm getting short on this side and really long on that side. One more big breath. Good, lift yourself up. Ooh, good. You're just gonna simply slide the hands down, take that leg and reach it behind you. All right, and then I'm basically gonna saw the leg. So I'm gonna roll onto the toes or even the foot and then push back. Good, forwards and backwards. And if your wrists are bothering you, walk them out more in front of you so there's not so much flexion. Or you could make fists, absolutely. One more just like that. Okay, and then just press backwards into that Achilles, right? Ooh, you can light that up. Feel the back calf. Good, one more big breath. So there's always this challenge for a lot of yogis, it's really easy to pull their foot forwards, but let's be honest, you might not be a yogi. So take your time. You could walk it out, right? But you're just gonna bring it all the way forward. So that same left leg that was out is now coming forwards. I've got my blanket underneath my knee as padding, and you can see I'm wiggling out until I can find, that right back quadricep group as well as hip flexor. So this again might be where your blocks have something to do with your practice. If I try to reach for the floor, I lose some of my chest extension here. But if I use something underneath my hands, I can just fire up my spine. I'm gonna draw my belly in to make sure I'm safe here. And now I'm really gonna feel that hip flexor and quad. Good, 2 big breaths here. One more. So from here, I'm gonna straighten this front bent leg that included the hip flexor and the knee, and it's gonna sound a little creaky. I might even slide it forwards. There's a lot of adjustments that you can make for your body. So I've been at this a while, I kind of know what's going on here, right? If you're new to these stretches, be really curious, be safe, and think about what it is you're trying to stretch out. Well, specifically the back of your front leg. So you do whatever you need to do in order to feel that stretch. Good. And then I would ask you, are you breathing, right? Just find the breath. Picture a balloon up in the air with a giant long kite string on it, right? You want to grab onto that and breathe your way, just like a balloon filling up with air and letting go. All right, slowly gonna make our way back into that leg. You might need to pull it back underneath you. Same thing as before, how are you gonna get it back in alignment? You can walk it around, it doesn't have to be anything crazy until you end up hands and knees. You're gonna take a nice big breath and you're gonna pull yourself up just as high as you can. So I'm thinking pubic bone and forehead, round, 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 round. And when there's no more breath left, then and only then from the middle of my belly do I start to elongate and reach and lengthen. And I keep going even when I think there's nowhere left to go. Then I'm gonna release my tailbone. I'm gonna release the back of my head. And in doing so, I open up the front of my throat, right? Big breath here. Good, and then slowly make your way back into neutral. So we're gonna come into that long-legged pose with our right leg out. All right, so I slide it up, I bravely kind of lift up. I'm thinking about where that knee is underneath me. I need it as a support. And then I'm going to take this foot, rolling it to the big toe edge, and then pushing into it. Now, if you have a tendency to, live on one side of your foot or the other, be careful as you move through. What I'm looking for is the safety of that ankle and maybe a little exploration. Good. Next time you've got it more so you're not collapsed into the ankle, pressing into the pinky side edge of the foot. I'll start here with my shoulder. I'm going to roll it backwards, bring the arm down, and over you go. This could be a small amount or really traveling down the leg. Again, you could hold onto the head. You could push your head gently into the back of the hand. Again, you want to just think about opening up your chest. One more big breath. Good. Lift yourself up. You're going to slide your hands down. Good. And this leg, we're just going to walk it forwards. All right? So your foot needs to be nice and safe, kind of feel secure underneath you. You might go back into those blocks or leave your hands down on the ground. We're shifting the focus into the back left leg now, right? Really feeling basically from about above the kneecap all the way up to even the hip bone here. So that's a huge amount of space. If you think about Bam Bam and Pebbles, remember how he always carried around that big bone in his hand? I really hope you're old enough to get this reference, right? That's the femur bone, right? These muscles are sitting right on top of that thigh bone, so it's a massive amount of length there. One more big breath. Whew. Good. You're going to back up your seat, which is going to straighten this front leg. Go slow. There's probably some information. Your knee might even be like, what's happening, right? Be nice. All right. Front right leg. Really surrender in. So if all you're doing is kind of rounding and collapsing, I would just ask, how does that feel in your front body? Rather, could you straighten up the spine, right? Open up your chest, draw your shoulder blades back, and then if you get anywhere, okay, but more importantly, are you breathing? Yeah, one more. Good. So how do we get out of here? I don't know, any way that makes sense to you. I'm going to drag my heel back. I'm going to put the blocks inside. I'm going to walk that foot all the way around until I'm back on hands and knees. Same thing as before. That blanket can be there just for your knees. Take a big inhale. And on your exhale from the kind of the tent pole underneath your belly, start rounding up. And then keep pulling your pubic bone forwards. Drop that head towards it. You're like a scaredy cat from a Halloween silhouette here. There's that big, giant stretch. And then from that tent pole, like you're pulling it back down, start to release, start to lengthen. And then again, you're going to pass through neutral until your tailbone releases. And the back of your head releases. Push into your hands, open up the chest, open up your throat, breathe. Don't be afraid to smile into it. Good, and come on back to neutral. Any movement here that just feels organic, you should always trust your own instincts, not just my voice or the voice of the teacher at the front of the room, but your inner voice, right? Best thing you can do. Okay, so from here, we've taken ourselves into the legs, both the front and the back. So we're going to move ourselves into the hips, all right? I'm gonna take this from here and I'm gonna cross that right ankle right over the left leg. Now, if it feels like we've been up here in our chest before, we have. So I invite you again to take that little bit of a forward press, right? We tend not to find back bends very often in our day. We tend to be hunched over things, typing, driving, running. So while we stretch out the hip, big open chest. Now, if this is not enough for you, you can choke up on it, right? You could make this bigger. You could also have that foot way far away for you. Good. Pressing into the chest, maybe even looking up a little bit, letting the front of the throat soften and open. Inhale and exhale. Good. Surrender the leg. Shake that all out. Right? Anything that you need to even just kind of run your hands down those thighs before we switch it to the other side. So you can start with the cross and then just kind of play with where the standing foot needs to go. You can also actively press this away from your body, or you can just kind of let it be there. And if you're really tired, and if you hear me, if asking you to back bend is just exhausted you too much, the other option is to just come on down on the ground, right? You don't have to work the upper body, and if you just came in from a run, you might be just too darn tired. So make sure you're doing what feels right for you. Last big breath. Good. If you're down on the ground, you're welcome to stay there or meet us all in a nice, comfortable position. Finding yourself seated again. The legs could be in crisscross, anything that feels good, letting the arms come down. And noticing, how does your back feel? How does your back correlate with the front body opening? And then move the awareness down into the pelvis. The pelvis is kind of like the airport control tower. Everything connects into it. And then from there, can you just relax your legs? I know they have done enough. Whether you are doing this virtual challenge for the first time, your first run, you are bravely out there committed to this, or this is like your 5th one. Be really proud of yourself. Relax into it. Big inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Take a nice swallow in your throat. And one final breath in and out. Yeah. I hope that felt great. That felt a lot better to me than if I was out running. So no, I am super proud of you for doing this. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Best of luck, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.